Hello dear learners, today we are going to start lesson 4 of book Moments of 9th class, In the Kingdom of Fools. It's written by A.K. Ramanujam. He was born in the city of Mysore. His father was an astronomer and professor of mathematics at the Mysore University. He became famous as an Indian poet and scholar of the Indian literature who wrote in both English and Kannada. Ramanujam was a poet, scholar, folklorist, translator, and a playwright. His academic research ranged across 5 languages: English, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and Sanskrit. In the Kingdom of Fools is a folk tale that brings to light the dangers posed by foolish people. It also emphasizes the view that foolish people can be very difficult to manage. They can be dealt with only by the wise and calm people. This story gives us 2 messages. The first one is that one should stay away from the foolish people, otherwise one is bound to suffer. And the second is that in order to tackle foolish people, one should employ wisdom and not logic. Let's read who were the foolish people and what happened to them, who came to their rescue, what happened in the story. Let's read. It is believed that fools are so dangerous that only very wise people can manage them. Who are the fools in the story? What happens to them? In the Kingdom of Fools, both the king and the minister were idiots. They didn't want to run things like other kings, so they decided to change night into day and day into night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night till their fields and run their businesses only after dark and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. Anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. So it is told that once upon a time there was a king who was a fool and all his ministers too were fools. So their kingdom came to be known as the Kingdom of Fools. They did not want to run things like other kingdoms and therefore decided to change certain things. Amongst many things, one was that they decided that they would change night into day and day into night. So they passed an order that everyone should keep awake at night till their fields, means cultivate their fields and do their businesses only after it was dark. However, they should go to bed as soon as the sun was up. They said if anyone dared to disobey the rules and therefore he would be punished with death. So people did as they were told. The king and the minister were delighted at the success of their project. One day a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. It was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep, not a mouse stirring. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. The king and his ministers were very happy at the success of their project. One day a guru along with his disciple came to the city. They found the city very beautiful but very surprised to see no one around. Everyone was asleep. Even the cattle were sleeping. The strangers roamed around in the town till evening. Then suddenly they found everyone woke up and got busy in their daily routine, their nightly business. Everybody started working according to their schedule. The 2 men were very hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. So as the 2 strangers here, the saint and his follower, the disciple and his follower, they felt very hungry. Since the shops were open, they decided to buy some grocery. They decided to buy some food items. To their astonishment, they were very much surprised to see that everything cost the same, a single doodoo. Whether they bought a measure of rice or a bunch of bananas, it cost a doodoo. Whether they purchased some rice or a bunch of bananas, they had paid a same cost, that is single doodoo. The Guru and his disciple were very much happy to see that they had never heard of anything like this. They could buy all the food they wanted for a rupee. So they could buy anything they wanted for a doodoo. When they had cooked and eaten, because they were feeling very hungry, so they had prepared their food and eaten, finished their meal, the Guru realized that this was a kingdom of fools and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay there. The disciple wanted to stay there, but the Guru realized that they had come into the kingdom of fools and it's not safe at all to live there. This is no place for us, let's go, he said to his disciple. He advised his disciple to move from that place. But the disciple didn't want to leave the place. Everything was so cheap here. All he wanted was good, cheap food. The Guru said, they all are fools. This won't last very long and you can't tell what they will do to you next. The disciple wanted to stay there, but the Guru felt it was not a proper place to live in, so they must go. But the disciple wanted to stay back because he only wanted good and cheap food. But the Guru explained that the people of the town were all fools, and so no one could not say what they would do next. Hence it was better to move out. But the disciple wouldn't listen to the Guru's wisdom. He wanted to stay. The Guru finally gave up and said, do what you want. I am going, and left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, bananas and ghee and rice and wheat, and grew fat like a street side sacred bull. So despite the fact that the Guru explained why they should leave, the disciple didn't want to listen to him and wanted to stay on. The Guru finally gave up and told him to do whatever he wanted and decided to leave without him. The disciple stayed back, ate to his heart's content every day, and grew fat like a street bull. One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. So what happened one bright day? A thief entered into a rich merchant's house. How? He made a hole into the wall and entered inside. And after robbing the things, he went out quietly. As he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed. The wall in which he had made hole fell down on his head and killed him on the spot, and he died on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him. His brother went to the king's court and complained that when his brother was doing his daily work, rather than telling that he was stealing, he said he was doing his daily work, ancient trade, a wall fell on him and killed him. He also blamed the merchant for the same. This merchant is to blame. He should have built a good strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice. He wanted the king to punish as well as because he was a wrongdoer, and that he should compensate the family for the injustice done. He also blamed the merchant for not making a strong wall. Resultantly, his brother got killed. The king said, Justice will be done, don't worry, and at once summoned the owner of the house. The king assured the brother that justice will be done. He at once summoned me, called the owner of the house. Compensate means to give something to make up for the loss. So as the king promised to do justice, he called the owner of the house. When the merchant arrived, the king started questioning him. King questioned him, what's your name? He asked him his name, and the merchant answered, such and such, your highness. Were you at home when the dead man burgled your house? Burgled means forced entry into. The king then asked if he was home when the house was robbed. Yes, my lord, he broke in and the wall was weak. It fell on him. The accused pleads guilty. Your wall killed this man's brother. You have murdered a man. We have to punish you. The merchant said, yes, my lord. He explained that when the man broke the wall and entered, it fell on him. The king told the brother that the accused, means the culprit, had confessed that he was guilty of murdering the man, and so the king had to punish him. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I did not put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. The merchant said that he had not constructed the wall. The real culprit was the man who made the wall, and hence the king should punish the man who built the wall. Who is that? My lord, this wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby. The king asked who the man was. The merchant told him that the wall was built during his father's time and that he knew the man. He was very old now and that he lived nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring in the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him tied hand and foot. Did you build this man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. So the king sent messengers to bring the bricklayer who had built the wall. The bricklayer was brought to the court, tied up with ropes. The king asked if he had laid the wall. The bricklayer agreed that he had indeed made the wall. Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. The king asked what kind of a wall he had built that it fell on a poor man and killed him. The king held him guilty and said he was a murderer and that he would have to be punished. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, please listen to me before you give your orders. It's true I built this wall and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklets jingling, and I could not keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. But before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer requested the king to listen to him. He said that he built the wall which was no good only because his mind was not focused. He was not concentrating while building the wall. He said he was distracted by a dancing girl who was walking up and down the street all day with her anklets. Anklets means an ornament worn around ankles. Jingling means giving out a sound. Anklets making a jingling sound. Because of the distraction, he could not make a strong wall. The mason even told the king that he should call the dancing girl and that he knew where she lived. You are right, the case deepens. We must look into it. It's not easy to judge such complicated cases. Let's get the dancer wherever she is. The king agreed. He thought the case was getting complicated now and that he must find out the root cause of the problem. The king decided to call the dancing girl. The dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court. Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him? Yes, my lord, I remember it very well. The dancing girl became an old woman. She came to the court and she was trembling out of fear. The king asked her if she had walked up and down the street many years ago. When the mason was making the wall, he then asked if she had seen him. The old woman agreed that she had. The king concluded that she had distracted him. So you did walk up and down with your anklets jingling. You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed an innocent man. You will have to be punished. So the king concluded that she had distracted him by making the jingling sound with her anklets. She was young and distracted the bricklayer, who in turn made a weak wall. And the king carried on with his conclusive sentence that the wall fallen on a burglar and killed him. Since you are responsible for killing an innocent man, you will have to be punished. She thought for a minute and said, "My lord, wait, I know now why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelry for me. He was a lazy scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now, he would give it then, and so on all day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times." The woman thought for a while and said she seemed to remember why she was walking up and down. She said she had given some gold to a jeweler to make some jewelry for her, and he was a lazy man and made many excuses. Each time she went to him, he said he would be giving the jewelry in a short while. He made her walk up and down the street to go to his house a number of times, dozen times. That was when the bricklayer saw her. "It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damned goldsmith's fault." So it was not her fault that she was walking up and down the street. She blamed the goldsmith for it. "Poor thing, she is absolutely right," thought the king, weighing the evidence. "We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once." The king thought about it and said that she was indeed innocent and that the real culprit was the jeweler. He called for the jeweler, and the king's men brought the jeweler, who was hiding in a corner of his shop. The king's bailiffs searched for the goldsmith. Bailiffs means officials, who was hiding in a corner of his shop when he heard the accusation against him. Accusation means blame against him. He had his own story to tell. Means when he was told why he was summoned, he had his own story to tell. The jeweler: "It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are." The jeweler said that he was a poor man, and he was a man who made the jewelry and also made the dancer come many times to his shop. He said he had an order of making jewelry of a rich merchant who said he could not wait. The rich man had a wedding coming up, and so he could not wait. He was indeed impatient, just as any rich man is. Who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mess of his wall? The king now asked for the rich merchant who had made the dancer walk up and down the streets so many times. He traced the chain of events as they happened and asked the jeweler to name the rich merchant, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king. Back to back the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, "It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent." So, when the jeweler was asked to name, he named the rich merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. So the king thought, now the justice had come in a full circle, with the blame coming back onto the merchant, onto the rich merchant. And when the king rudely summoned, called back to the merchant, he arrived at the court crying that he had not ordered the jewelry, but his father, it was his father who had ordered, and that he was dead now. So merchant explained to the king that it was my father who ordered the jewelry. I had not ordered that. He is dead, so I am innocent. I should not be held responsible for killing the thief. Yes, dear students, this is up to page number 22. Rest of the pages I will explain in the next video. Thank you.